Today we're going to be taking a look at our new RhinoCam Vertex digital medium format stitch adapter. Hey everyone, Sean here with Fotodiox, and a couple weeks ago we launched this new exciting product and we got a really good response, a lot of YouTube views, a lot of comments. You guys seem to be really interested in this product. This is our RhinoCam Vertex. And this is a lens adapter that allows you to adapt a medium format lens from an old medium format film camera onto a full frame mirrorless digital camera. And then by rotating the adapter and taking 4 individual shots, then stitching them together, you can create a true medium format digital stitched photo. Now that's a big mouthful of technical jargon. Let me explain it by showing you kind of step by step how the RhinoCam Vertex works. We're going to be starting with this version of the RhinoCam Vertex, the Pentax 645 to Canon EOS R RhinoCam Vertex. So what this allows me to do is mount a medium format Pentax 645 lens. This is an f2.8 75mm lens. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to line up the mounting dot on the lens with the mounting dot on the RhinoCam and lock them together. And we're going to mount the RhinoCam Vertex onto the camera. Now, unlike a normal adapter that will just shoot through the middle of the lens, this adapter is offset and it rotates. So it's actually designed to take 4 photos with this camera through this lens, and then when we stitch them together, we get a larger photo. And the reason we're able to do this is medium format lenses were designed to cover much larger film planes than the size of a full frame digital sensor like the one in this EOS R. So when we rotate the camera on the adapter, we're actually moving the position of the digital sensor in the mirrorless camera to capture different parts of the image circle created by the medium format lens. And then when we stitch them together, we get an image 2.5 times the resolution of what this sensor could capture if it was just a single photo. So you'll see on the bottom of the RhinoCam Vertex, there is an Arca Swiss plate, and this is designed for mounting into an Arca Swiss plate mount on a tripod. And you're gonna wanna just put it on the very end of it because you need clearance for the camera to rotate. But we're not gonna use that. We're gonna use what I used 2 weekends ago when I was on a trip to South Carolina. I was up in the mountains there, and I wanted a really, really portable setup. So I used our Fotodiox mini tabletop tripod, and there's a 1/4-20 mounting thread here for using on a normal tripod. And I just mounted the RhinoCam Vertex directly to this mini tripod. So rather than carrying around a heavy tripod, all I had to do is open up these 3 legs here and just set up my shot. Now the one downside to this is I had to use flat surfaces that were lower to the ground. But that was actually fine because we were around a lot of large rocks and shooting like waterfalls and streams on bridges, so this was actually a perfect setup for that. Here's a photo I captured with this setup at Jones Gap State Park on a bridge kind of near the entrance of whitewater coming down this beautiful mountain stream. So to capture this image, I set up the camera. I set the white balance to shade because we were in the forest. You don't want to have the white balance on auto because as you're taking the 4 shots, you don't want the white balance to change because then when you stitch the photo together, the images are going to be slightly different balanced and it's just not going to look good. I set the shutter to a 2-second delay. So when I took the photo, it would take 2 seconds for the photo to actually fire because I didn't want any shake in the image, you know. Just pushing the shutter can add a little bit of shake. So I got rid of the shake by having the 2-second delay on the shutter. Then I set the aperture, I think to like f16 on the lens. I set the ISO pretty low and I used a slower shutter speed because I wanted the water to kind of blend together. Now to compose this shot, I couldn't see the entire shot at once because the sensor's only showing part of the image circle of the lens. So what I did is I kind of looked through it and I eyeballed it and I did the 4 rotations and I looked through each one to kind of make sure that the composition lines of what will become a square image were kind of where I wanted them. And then I made some slight adjustments. Then I was ready to shoot. So then all I did was I took a picture, I rotated the camera to this position, took a picture, rotated it completely upside down, took a picture, rotated it here, took a picture, and that was it. I had captured my 4 images. And when you rotate it, it actually has clicked stop. So when you feel the click, you know that's where you need to stop to take your next shot. Okay, now I had my 4 photos to stitch. Now I shot them in RAW, so that means I can take them into Photoshop and I actually edit them in Photoshop RAW before I stitch them. And basically I just pick one of the 4, I edit for that one, and then I just apply the same edits to the other 3. Then I just go into Photoshop, photo merge, select the 4 images, and Photoshop does the rest. And you'll see here I get the final stitched image. Now, there was a little bit of movement when I was doing the rotations and taking the 4 shots. When Photoshop stitches them, you will get kind of rough edges. So you're just going to want to crop in a little bit to remove the edges of the photo so it's a square shot. Then I just take the 4 layers, merge them together, and there you go. I have a shot that's 2.5 times the resolution of what I could capture with just a single image on my EOS R camera. Now, obviously, the downside is you do have to take 4 photos, and that will take some time. And so, you know, occasionally if you have bright light with clouds and the clouds are moving across the sun, that's going to maybe mess up your exposure. And you might have to do it a couple times to get it where the light is even in all 4 shots. Also, if there's a lot of motion, you know, like cars driving down the road, people walking, not the best setup. As you can see in this photo that I did is kind of a demo of what not to do. And I did not capture a secret portal to another world. I just did a bad stitch job here. Here's some more RhinoCam Vertex photos I captured in South Carolina in the mountains. Captured a beautiful waterfall at Jones Gap, a couple different angles of that. Our owner, Kelvin, actually took the RhinoCam Vertex out to the American Southwest, went to some state parks. Here are some photos he captured. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And that's what the RhinoCam Vertex does best. Beautiful photos of beautiful landscapes. And it's a super compact package. You don't have to worry about bringing film holders. You don't have to worry about bringing a super expensive medium format digital camera. All you need is a lightweight mirrorless digital camera, a medium format lens, and the RhinoCam. And like I showed earlier, you can even use just a mini tabletop tripod if you know you're going to have flat surfaces to work with. You don't even have to bring a full-sized tripod. Now, a lot of people will ask, why do this when I can just have my normal lens on my EOS R camera and use the method where I'm moving the camera around as I'm holding it, taking a bunch of different photos, and then having Photoshop stitch them together? Well, there's nothing wrong with that method, and actually I recommend it for people who want to use that method. But the difference with the RhinoCam Vertex is rather than using a full frame lens and taking a bunch of different photos and then kind of fusing them all together, you are getting one image created by one lens. And it's just more of a consistent look. You're not stitching a bunch of different lens images together. You're just capturing a single image circle from a single medium format lens. So who is the RhinoCam Vertex for? Well, it's definitely for people who have medium format lenses and want to breathe new life into them. You can always shoot medium format film with your cameras, but this is a fun way to kind of bring it into the digital world, and you don't have to worry about developing and scanning the film. You're just stitching the images in Photoshop and you're ready to go. Okay, that's a closer look at the new RhinoCam Vertex. Now, I'm sure you have questions because this is a fairly complicated product, so comment below. I'd love to help you out. Also, click the link in the description below to get your RhinoCam Vertex today, and click right here to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more videos just like this one. I'm Sean with Fotodiox.com, and thanks for watching.